when you're dealing with something like depression, you really have to come at it from many directions to really work through it, right? So like I said, connect, support, and advocate, right? So that first thing I think that is always key, always critical in every parent-teen relationship, but especially if they're struggling with depression, is that connection, right? Because often when we're struggling with depression, we're not feeling connected, so and then to really support your teen through that, you have to have a very strong relationship, which is so key. You have to have that communication.
Welcome to Single Parent Success Stories, a podcast designed to inspire single parents. Here you'll find resources from self-care to finances to parenting and everything in between. Discover what it takes to thrive. Let the stories inspire you to what is possible. Hello and welcome to Single Parent Success Stories. Today we have a special guest joining us from Seattle, Washington. She is Kristina Saelee, a single mom of 4 children, a foster mom, and hosts international students. She is an author, speaker, and parent coach, helping parents of teens struggling with depression learn how to connect, support, and advocate for their teens. Welcome, Kristina. It is a pleasure to have you.
Oh, thank you so much. It's so great to be here.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. So please share with us your journey, your story. How did you become a single parent?
Wow, became a single parent. So me and my husband married when I was really young. We were really young and had children young, and then divorced young. As we got older, we kind of grew apart and didn't really have the skills needed to have a successful, marriage. So we did divorce young, and I became a single mom of three. Um, and I was only 24. So it was a long time ago, and I've been a single mom for a very long time. But so after me and my first husband divorced, I did enter a new relationship and became engaged again and had my fourth son. Um, and after a few months, we really struggled, and it was just a toxic relationship. And he did end up leaving. So I found myself a single mom of four at just 30 years old. And it was, a very scary time. Um, I went through a lot of, struggle and trying to figure out, how to be a single mom of my children who are now, growing up and getting older. Um, and then right around when my oldest began to be the teenage years, I started being like, whoa, okay, now what's going on? Because, I thought I had the parenting thing down, thought I was doing the, parenting, um, and it was going on well. And then all of a sudden, I started struggling, and what worked when they were young was no longer working. Um, so yeah, yeah. But then I found my youngest son at the time was about 3, and there was a positive discipline class in his Montessori school. So I went to this class to find out, what this positive discipline was about. And was it just seemed so amazing and so many great tools that would be helpful. And so I really dived in and learned as much as I could. And then I realized, wow, I didn't really have this parenting thing down the way that I thought because I was a yeller. I was definitely a yeller when my kids were young. And I didn't really have a lot of tools. I used kind of the parenting style that I was raised with, which was more of the authoritarian style. And I was a bit controlling, and I wasn't a very conscious parent. I would be triggered and then I would yell, and really I was really stressed out and overwhelmed. Being a single mom is hard, right? We know the struggle of doing it all on your own, and then having four children, and not having the skills and the tools. It was stressful and overwhelming, and I was trying to balance school and work and kids, and plus I was trying to do it all and be PTA president, and yeah, so that overwhelm led to a lot of resentment. I kind of resented my exes for being a single parent, and being in that position, and then I just got triggered easily and would lose it and yell. So, yeah, so I was super grateful for positive discipline because it really taught me tools to, begin to parent in a more conscious way, to be able to it just changed my whole philosophy, my whole outlook on parenting. And I started saying no to doing all the things, and started developing, more self care. Um, and then through that and the tools that I learned, I began to really change the way that I parented, which had such a significant impact on my family. Yeah.
Wow, wow. No, first becoming a single parent when you said 26 or 24?
24, yeah,
Okay. And
24
then,
when my
yeah.
husband first,
And
yeah.
then again at 30 and, faced with all these challenges. Did you have any challenges when you became a single parent? What were some of the like biggest ones that you faced?
Well, I mean, finding housing that I could afford, um, balancing, work and school and childcare, um, was another. I really didn't have a support network. That was, really challenging as well. Well, first of all, after my first divorce, I really didn't have a support network. I had my mom, but most of my friends were not parents. I didn't really have much family around besides my mom. Back then I didn't know of like the peps groups and such that we have nowadays, the moms groups that we have nowadays. So I really didn't have much support at all. And, I was really trying to find a way to do it all, like I said, going to school and work and stuff. So that was definitely a challenge. After my second separation, I did find a support network through my church, and so that definitely helped. So I definitely recommend single parents to find that support network. It's so critical because it really does take a village to raise our children, and even more so when you're a single parent. And I think that, you know, we have a lot of strength in single parents nowadays. I know before it was looked at more as, the sad statistics and such, but I think that we've really learned and overcome a lot of that, and definitely can raise amazing children and get through the challenges as a single parent, but it does take a support network for sure.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say for a reason it takes a village to raise a child, and we do need that support that we need. And sometimes it's difficult to ask for help because we think we gotta do everything ourselves.
Yes, yes, that was definitely my challenge. I was a very stubborn independent and was determined to do it all on my own. And it was very difficult for me to ask for help. And I
So,
really did disservice to myself and to my children, you
so
know.
what changed? How did you discover that you can ask for help?
It was after my second separation and four kids, and I had no choice. you know At that point there was just no choice but to ask for help because I just was so overwhelmed and just couldn't do it. And like I said, fortunately I had my church to lean on, and the support that they gave me was immeasurable. And really I think it was them that taught me to ask for help, and that it was okay to ask for help, and that we all need help. Yeah. And that it helps that we're doing others a service by allowing them to help us. There's people that care about us, that want to help us. And so there's something beautiful when you give permission to for someone to be able to help.
Very well said. Yes, totally. What do you think is the most important trait to instill in a child?
I would say resilience. I have raised now, gosh, I've raised now five, and then my international students. So I've raised, five teens now. And so through that comes a lot of challenges, right? They each have their own journey and are going to experience some challenges along the path. And I think helping them to empower them, and to build that resilience muscle so that they can get through those tough times, and that when they get older, they'll have those skills and tools needed to weather the ups and downs of life. I think a lot of times nowadays we do too much for our children, and we don't teach them the skills to learn from their mistakes, and learn how to navigate challenges. And then they're on their own, and they really struggle. And so I think teaching them the resilience to so if they do encounter challenges being a single parent themselves, they're going to have that muscle that they know they can do hard things. And they're going to have the skills and tools to navigate those challenges in life, because, we all experience, life's ups and downs and along our journey and our pathway to, so learning how to overcome. And I think it starts with resilience.
Totally. I love that. Resilience is very important, and it's great that you were able to impart that onto your children to be resilient.
Yes, yes.
Uh,
I think especially with my daughter, who really struggled with depression. And, me myself as a teen struggled with depression as well. And my mother lived with bipolar. So then my own daughter started struggling with depression as a teen. And and that's what I learned is you know we that's, depression and mental health is one challenge that a lot of our teens are experiencing nowadays, especially since COVID. It's the numbers are on the rise for it's like, 1 in 3 teens are going to experience depression before adulthood. And so I think a lot of that is why it's so important to teach that resilience, so that they, can get through those tough times. Um, and so that's why I really focused my um, journey of parent or coaching parents of teens, especially teens who are struggling with depression, because like I said, it takes a village in that support network. Well, what I found when my daughter was struggling is, there were some resources for depression, yes. There was some, resources for parenting, yes, but not a lot about how to parent your child through depression, how to really support them, to learn to connect, support, and advocate for your teen who struggles with depression. So that's why I created my program for families that are going through that struggle as well.
What would you say is the most important element in your program? How do you help parents to manage or to help kids through depression?
Yeah, it's hard to name that one important thing because when you're dealing with something like depression, you really have to come at it from many directions to really work through it, right? So like I said, connect, support, and advocate, right? So that first thing I think that is always key, always critical in every parent-teen relationship, but especially if they're struggling with depression, is that connection, right? Because often when we're struggling with depression, we're not feeling connected, so and then to really support your teen through that, you have to have a very strong relationship, which is so key. You have to have that communication because it is scary if your teen is struggling with suicidal ideation or behaviors such as self-harm. um, then you need to be able them to feel safe and be able to communicate with you about what they're feeling and what they're thinking so that you can support them. So I think it always starts with that connection, but then also the tools to really support them, right? So what does it look like? Like I said, I learned positive discipline, right? And positive discipline is all about being kind and firm at the same time. Well, what does that mean when your teen is struggling and says they don't want to be alive anymore? What is kind of, how do you implement those boundaries in that situation? Or what happens a lot of time when they're struggling with their mental health, then it manifests itself in some risky behaviors. The coping skills, that negative coping skills such as drugs and alcohol or inappropriate sexual relations, or like I said, self harm, or eating disorders, and all of those things. So how do you support your teen when they're smoking, vaping, doing marijuana, or want to drop out of school, or some of these risky behaviors that show up. So I really work through those tools. And then that last piece is that advocacy, right? So how do you find them the right counselor? How, should you consider medication, and what should you consider before starting a medication? And what should if they are struggling in school, how do you get them that 504 or IEP plan? So that's kind of the last step in, you know, and again, creating that support network for them, right? Because when you're dealing with something like depression, it takes a whole team of support.
Thank you. Thank you. This is important work you are doing.
Thank you.
If you could go back in the past, what would you do? Would you do anything differently? Or what kind of advice would you share with your younger self?
Yes. Oh, so much, right? So much I would do differently. If only we could go back. But I think some of the main things is like I said, is asking for help earlier and sooner. Creating that support network for myself and for my children. Um, that's definitely key. And, we hear a lot, but I can't emphasize enough how important self care is. And I totally get it when you are a single parent and you are struggling to, work and take care of your kids. Having time or money or anything to invest in your own self-care seems impossible, but I cannot emphasize enough how important it is, and not just for yourself but for your children. It's not just for yourself, it's a responsibility that you have for your children, and to role model for your children how to, invest in that self-care. So as they grow, they begin to learn how the tools to take care of themselves as well, so that they can get through those tough times. So, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. What kind of advice can you share with single parents who are just stepping onto the journey of single parenting?
Yeah. I think I kind of covered that one in the last one, but yeah, just getting that support network, whether it's a church community, whether it's family, whether it is, a parent coach, someone that can, support you through the journey. um, you know Parent coaching is so important nowadays, to have that support where, through being a single parent is just so overwhelming. And but once you can get through that overwhelm and learn some tools and implement those tools, then you can be an empowered single parent. And your kids don't have to be a statistic, you know. They can thrive in a single parent family for sure.
Totally, totally. Was there any book that you read along the way that kind of helped inspire your own journey or helped change your life for the better?
Oh, I love that you asked this question because I love books. And that is how I did most of my learning. Like when I was going through it, there really wasn't, like, parent coaching wasn't really a thing yet. And, fortunately I had positive discipline later on, but before positive discipline, it was all the books. And so there's so many I can name, but definitely all the books by Dr. Jane Nelson and Lynn Lott on positive discipline. So they write one specifically for single parents. They write one specifically for teens, like any age group that you're in with your kids, they've written a positive discipline book for. Um, so those are really great. A great one that I also really liked was by Hunter Clark Fields, about mindful parenting. That one was super helpful. Let's see. As speaking of parenting teens, Dan Siegel's, oh gosh, why am I just spacing the name? I wish I had put all my books like on a pile here. Or can you see them in the background? So many good ones. But yeah, Dan Siegel and definitely has many, many good ones that made a huge impact. Um, yeah. Dr. Ross Greene's book, Explosive Child, was another good one. I mean, there's so many, so many.
Thank you. Thank you. Those are worth reading. Since they change your life, they can change a lot of people's life as well. Thank you. I'm gonna take a peek. I get to learn from my guests as well, different aspects and different wisdom. So thank you.
Yes, definitely.
What is your superpower if you had to pick one?
My superpower. Oh man, superpower, especially thinking as a single parent, I say just never giving up. Never giving up, just determined to give it my all and to always be, learning and growing and knowing that, we all make mistakes as parents, especially being single parents and how tough it is, to give ourselves that grace and just learn and grow, and when we know better we do better, um and just, yeah, just keep moving forward.
You're right. I love that. Nobody ever said that. In 4 years, nobody ever said that. This is an important trait. Never give up. I love that. Did you have a hero growing up or somebody you looked up to?
I think in retrospect, I'd say my mom, you know. Um, my mom definitely had her share of challenges as well, but seeing her, but she never gave up, you know. And and even though she struggled with bipolar, um, she never gave up, and she was always there for us, doing the best that she could. And so I really admired her strength. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. That's beautiful. And I think you have attained her trait, never give up and you carry on.
Yeah.
Are there any fun projects you're working on that you like to share?
Yeah, thank you for asking. Because speaking of books, I am just finished writing my book. So, just starting the process of publishing my book called The Power of Everyday Grace, which is all about my 5 steps of how to connect, support, and advocate for your teen struggling with depression. So I hope that that will be the resource that I had hoped I had, or had wished I had had when I was, going through that journey with my daughter. And so I really hope that it helps others who are, going through the same challenges. Um, I'm also recording my online course based on my program as well. So lots, working on lots coming out. I also finished a chapter in Against All Odds with Lisa Nichols. So that is coming out in a couple months too. So yeah. So
Awesome.
please,
Congratulations. That's incredible.
it is super exciting.
Yeah. How was your writing journey?
My writing journey has been amazing. Yes, I've always wanted to be an author. So now that that dream is coming true, is just amazing. I think getting through that very end of editing and getting it out there was what took the longest. And so finally getting over that and starting the publishing process is awesome.
Beautiful. Congratulations again. Is there anything I haven't asked that you would like to share?
No, I think just wanting to reiterate that you know it's as tough as the journey is being a single parent. There's so much amazing skills that we can learn and teach our children. Um, and so just knowing that, with a little bit of support and a little bit of good friends and coaches or church community, whatever you need, just know that you're going to find your path, and your kids will look at you as a source of strength and learn those tools and skills from you as well. So just keep going, don't give up.
I love that. Thank you. If people would like to connect with you, learn more about you, where would they go?
The best place is my website. It's empoweredparenting.family. And there you'll find links to all my social media. You'll find my blogs. You'll find my I you can download my first chapter of my book. Um, can also download, 10 ways to distinguish between typical teenage behavior and teen depression. For, if you are worried about your teen's mental health, but aren't sure if it's just kind of the normal teenage stuff, or you should be concerned, then you can download that PDF. So yeah, please visit my website. I'd love to connect.
Thank you. Thank you so much for coming, and we'll include everything in episode notes. It's been a pleasure to have you. Thank you for sharing your wisdom and your journey with us.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.